Hello world builders and wish fulfillers. Today's video is about descriptions. A robust location description is one of the most important things you bring to the table. As the game master, it's your job to provide the space for players to exercise their creativity, to provide things for them to react to. So when they come to a new location, be that a city, a large sandbox, or a particular room in a dungeon, it's your description that lays down the foundation for their decisions, reactions, and character play to build on top of. So what makes a description good? I bullet point the vivid details. What does this place look like? What does it smell like? What sounds fill the air? Hitting all those senses can really give your players something to latch onto. Physically describe the buildings or the terrain or any people that the party may see. If it's a city, tell them what the socio-economic situation is. Tell them what feelings this place inspires. You're not playing their characters for them, you're just telling them what their gut level reaction is. And they can do with that emotion whatever they want, but they're more likely to react to it, to engage with this location on an emotional level if you've told them what that visceral reaction is when they first lay eyes on this place. Don't be afraid to let the players in on the story of this location, things their characters might not know, but that give the location color. Because remember, your players are not your audience. They're your co-writers. And they're going to be more interested in this location. They're going to engage their characters more with it if they know what an interesting place it is. If you've intended this to be a place with a rich backstory, a backstory that the players probably won't encounter in the course of this adventure, don't keep it secret. Share it with your players. It's okay to break free from the character knowledge mindset sometimes. And what you're going to realize as you include those vivid details is that you're creating roleplay hooks that you didn't even know you were putting into the game. I remember I ran a pirate game once and the crew went to Tortuga, because every pirate universe has to have a Tortuga, right? And I described the sights and the smells and the things for sale, because you can buy anything in Tortuga. And so when I gave them a mysterious map that they didn't know much about, they said, hey, we're in the right place. Where better to find a cartographer who deals in such antiquities and ask his opinion on it? See, the way I'd planned it, it was going to be a while before they learned word one about this map. But my description had turned this into the kind of place where the information ought to be available, at least some information. And that cartographer turned out to be one of our better NPCs, you know, the retired map maker with the game leg who gets convinced to go on one more adventure with the party. And of course, by staying in town, they inevitably fell afoul of some territorial Tortuga businessmen. So that's how a description led the party to do things that created story, instead of waiting for the story to come to them, which is the kind of game I like to run. Once you have your bullet points, you can leave them as is. If you think you can read them in an interesting way, kind of string them together into an ad-lib description, or if you're a more literary type, you can work them into a well-crafted description that you read during the session, just dependent on your preferences. The advantage of having something written out ahead of time is that it's usually more polished, but the advantage of starting with a few bullet points and winging it is that it can put you into a more open mindset, where you're incorporating details based on something that this player said before the game, or that player's reacting to as you say it, or maybe asking questions about. Kind of a living description, just as your game world should be a living game world, moving and changing in response to everything your players say and do. Then comes the handover, and that is the most important part of a good description, is the part where you stop describing and ask the players, what are you doing? You know, whether you ask that directly or signal it some other way, this is the part where you're done setting the stage, and you turn it over to them and ask, where do you see yourselves in this scene? Where should the story go next? Because remember, in an RPG, the players are the ones who bring your story, your game world, to life. So right from the get-go, you want to model that relationship, establish that you're going to set the scene, and then you're going to welcome their contributions. Game mastering is very much about act, react. So especially if your description was kind of big and long-winded, they were listening intently because they wanted to know what was going on, it can be good to prompt them, put the ball back in their court, and make sure they know It's their move. Act, react. What are some of your favorite description techniques? What have you tried in the past that engaged your players or maybe didn't engage your players? I'd love to hear from you in the comments. I'm Tobin Doobie from GMGenie.com. If you liked this video, if you found it helpful, go ahead and check out my blog. I do articles every Monday, as well as Game Master techniques and stuff to use in your game every Thursday. And of course, you can subscribe to my channel. I've got a whole rash of videos coming out. I'll see you soon.